How would you define success for you?
By how much money you make. No, I think that is a key driver. But also, so yeah, making money definitely a key thing, and I don't want to shy away from that. I think everyone should be thinking about that, running a business. But the other one is impact, I guess. I love getting emails and phone calls from people saying, Sam, thank you so much for what you guys are doing at Cultivate Farms. You're giving us a hope that we can live our dream of owning a farm, which is ingrained in so many people. I'm Sam Marwood. I'm Managing Director of Cultivate Farms. After I grew up on a farm, and my parents said I couldn't have the farm, so I went off and did something else other than the farming, because I knew unless I was going to inherit the farm, I wasn't going to be a farmer. You got to be very wealthy or inherit to own a farm. So I went off and studied environmental science, then worked for the Victorian government for 12 years. And then about probably my early 30s, I realised that I've always had this passion for farming and for the environment, and caught up with good friends of mine, Tim and Tegan Hicks, and they've always wanted to be farmers. And Tim had this idea of, hey, what if there was a business that helped to buy farms for young people? And I loved that concept so much that I quit my well-paid, secure job to start this thing called Cultivate Farms, out of this realisation that farm ownership is out of the reach for most people who want to be farmers, and I think that's a crying shame. And we wanted to find a solution for Tim and Tegan, and then for anyone else across Australia who wants to own a farm. So yeah, that's my passion around natural resource management and also farming, and I've had this amazing opportunity to bring those worlds together and start my own business.
Yeah, wow, it's really cool. So just learning a bit more about yourself. Do you have any hobbies that you're doing when you're not working and running Cultivate Farms?
I'm finding that I don't have any hobbies anymore. I'm constantly working and got a young family as well. So yeah, just hanging with my family at the moment, which just sounds so boring. 10 years ago, I would have thought that was the worst thing ever, but and I love it. I guess I love the process of running and starting a business. I think there's just something really enjoyable about the journey, and not so much the end point. And that's what I've realised I love, and that's what I'm always keeping my eyes on, is enjoy the process. And I enjoy work, but yeah, I probably should think about some more hobbies in the meantime.
So you got a family? Tell us a bit about family.
Yeah, a wife and a kid, and one more on the way in a month or so. So things are just flat out, and we're living here in Central Victoria in Kyneton.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you grew up as daily farm. Are there any personal characteristics you think you may now have from that kind of upbringing?
Sorry, say that again. Sorry.
So are there any personal characteristics you think that you may now have from that kind of upbringing?
Yeah, I think growing up on a farm, you learn initiative. I think if you don't get something done, you get yelled at, because it's everyone's depending on you to pull your weight on the farming operation. So you sort of learn to have initiative and get stuff done. I think you sort of realise that if you don't chip in, if you don't do something, things don't happen, and you let down other people. I feel like this sense of responsibility comes from growing up on a farm and knowing that you're part of the business and the success of the operation and of your family as well. And having lived now in a city and in a country town for half my life, I can see that distinct difference between living in a business, I guess, on a farm, and living in a world where your business and life are separated. And I think because everything's so mingled together in farming, and you're mingled in as a kid as well, and with all that, I think you learn responsibility and initiative from early days. And even when I was working in the city as in landscape gardening, so I was a bit of a worker, I know a lot of people who employed us were actually looking for country kids to work, which is a really interesting angle, that growing up in the country or in a farm, you're more likely to have that hard work attitude instilled in you. And I guess that's what I feel like I've got as well instilled in me just starting these businesses is that you've only got yourself and your family to rely on to make this work. So just get on and get on and do.
Yeah, that's great. So you said you spent 12 years in environmental policy for the Victorian government. What led to the change from that career to what you're doing now?
I think it was because I always loved coming up with ideas, and in government you are restricted in how your ideas are taken up and implemented, which is absolutely fine, and that's just the way government operates. Your job is to work with and look after the minister and deliver the government's mandate. So if you're someone who has lots of ideas and wants to see them through, working in government probably isn't the best place for you to be. But I've learned a lot and met a lot of great people doing it. And I think it's because of that sheer weight of ideas on my shoulders and in my head around natural resource management and farming that I just realised I can't deliver them through this vehicle of government. I need to be able to deliver them myself and with like-minded people. And I think it was after, I don't know, a year or two of these ideas firming in my head around businesses, so specifically Cultivate Farms, I realised, well, I can either live in two worlds or cut my ties and start my own business. So it's purely because I thought this concept of farm ownership was so core and it'd be amazing to have a business that could solve it. And I spoke to enough people who said, yeah, this is a great idea, that made me realise, well, let's do it. I only live once. I think I've got the contacts, I think I've got the skills. I'll quit my well-paid job and do it. And I've really enjoyed it. It has been a massive risk, and I wouldn't encourage people to quit and start a business without having a secure income behind you. I had 12 months long service leave, but really I probably should have stayed on working and worked between 5 p.m. and midnight every night to build the business, knowing I had a secure income, and then quit once there was money coming in. So I probably wouldn't encourage people just to quit and not have that money behind you. But yeah, it was just the sheer weight of these ideas, I think, that made me want to move on and try something different. It was just this burning desire that I had to meet, I guess.
Alright. What does a typical day look like for you now? And what are you doing?
Catching up with emails is a big one for me. So a lot of what I'm doing, I call it scheming, but I haven't figured out a better word for it, and probably more of a positive word. But we're I guess a matchmaking service, so it's all about relationships. This is about connecting people who have farms with people who want to own farms or manage the farms with them. So a lot of this is just sitting down and thinking about, who can I connect with that person? Who can we connect with as an organisation with other organisations to lead that to enable more connections for aspiring farmers and retiring farmers. So there's no real one pathway for making these matches happen. So it's just constantly sitting and thinking about who to connect with. We get emails coming in and phone calls coming in all the time, and it's all about thinking about how do we connect them all. So most of my day is filled up with answering emails, setting up meetings, and then doing the phone calls with those meetings, all with the aim of finding more farms for more aspiring farmers to be matched onto, or finding income streams for us as well as a business to keep it going so we can provide this service to more aspiring farmers. But yeah, day to day, it's really not well structured at all, because I think a lot of it is just trying to figure out and deliver our business model, because we don't really have anyone to copy. We're just making it up as we go. We've Googled from all over the world trying to find similar businesses, and there's nothing really out there other probably than Tinder or eHarmony, but nothing in this sort of farming world around matchmaking. So it's just play it by ear. But yeah, day to day, it's just emails, phone calls, and trying to put some structure around that, but with the aim of getting the right people in a room together to have a discussion around farm ownership.
Mm-hmm. What would you say that motivates you the most?
What affects me the most?
What motivates you the most?
Motivates. I've got a real passion for provide or seeing a harmony between natural resources of the environment and agriculture. I see these two worlds as warring, whereas I grew up on dairy farm and my mum taught me how to grow trees from seed, and I would start planting the trees on the farm, and I loved to see how I created habitat and that created homes for animals, and I could see this harmony happening between the farming world, so I need to eat and consume, and the natural world. So for me, that's sort of a natural ingrained thought process, and I love the concept that I can help to inspire other farmers and other landholders across the country to find that balance and still be profitable. So I think I'd love to be able to influence the next generation of farmers across Australia and be part of their journey into farm ownership, and then be part of their journey of, once they're on their farm, to find that balance between agriculture and human needs and the nature's needs. And so I guess that's a bigger driver. I want to see the world and the planet continue to be looked after well, but also enable humans to keep flourishing. And I see agriculture as a massive player as part of that. And I don't want these two worlds to be warring anymore. So I guess that's my underlying driver here is I want the best people owning farms who are going to be looking after the land as well.
That's cool. So most people in business, they would probably define their success by how much money they're making and things like that. How would you define success for you?
By how much money you make. No, I think that is a key driver. And coming from government, I've realised how hard it is to run businesses. It is a really hard thing to do. And if anyone wants to have a crack at it, really think about, are you up for it? Because getting a set wage and working for somebody else is a great option. But if you want to run your own business and think you're going to make money straight away, I'd really sit back and think about if that's what you want. Like, that's my aim. I want to run a business that's profitable and I can support my family and friends. But it's not right at the moment. It would not be ticking that box at all. But I know, and we've got our models that we can make this a really profitable and viable enterprise, and we can scale across the world if that's what we want to do. But also, making money definitely a key thing, and I don't want to shy away from that. I think everyone should be thinking about that, running a business. But the other one is impact, I guess. I love getting emails and phone calls from people saying, Sam, thank you so much for what you guys are doing at Cultivate Farms. You're giving us a hope that we can live our dream of owning a farm, which is ingrained in so many people. So I know we're on the track to be doing something that can impact thousands of people's lives. And that's a real joy in and of itself, I guess. So that's the human side, and also the environmental side. I do think that if we can continue to get great people onto farms, we can keep looking after the environment. So for me, I wouldn't start a business if it was just about purely making money and selling something that doesn't really have much impact on people's lives or the environment. So this is why, for me, it feels like it ticks all the boxes that I can have a comfortable life and I can do good for the planet and for people.
Who has been the greatest inspiration in your journey?
I'd say my parents, definitely, and they're not overtly trying to pump me up my whole life. They're just great examples of people who work hard. I keep thinking about our time on the farm and how it was a 7-day-a-week job. We never really had holidays. We'd have to leave at half time of the seniors footy match every week so mum and dad can get back and milk, and there's just always work to be done on the farm. So I think they've been a great inspiration to me, and I guess my siblings as well. We're all of us have our own businesses that we run also. So I think that's been a great example. But there's a person that I guess can't stop listening to, and I have for the last year or two, and I've actually deleted all other podcasts now, and I just listen to this guy because I think he's actually onto it. And his name's Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V, and he's an entrepreneur in America who just understands the power of social media and hard work. And he just reiterates those sort of core concepts that we have. We have production and distribution here on our phones, and we've never had that access in human history. And now any business or anyone can start a business about something they care about, and it's all about creating content, providing value, and working hard and working hours and hours and hours to create content and inspire people that you know what you're doing and that you've got a great idea, and through that doors can open. But it's not going to happen overnight either. That these things take years to build up momentum. And I wish I'd heard Gary V 3 or 4 years before I started Cultivate Farms, because I had more of a realistic expectation. But also think I think everybody now should be creating content around the thing that they care about or they love, because that is the new resume, and that's the new way to open doors to making an income from doing something you care about. You can start blogging or doing videos about cattle breeds, and you can become the expert overnight, or not overnight, sorry, over time in cattle breeds, and that can open doors for you to get a job or start your own business doing something. So that's, I guess, listening to Gary V is a big motivator for me to keep going and keep grinding and keep creating content, because I know that we've got the bigger vision here, and it just takes time and for things to click into place. So yeah, I guess that's the summary, parents and Gary Vaynerchuk.
Mm-hmm. What sacrifice have you had to make you become successful entrepreneur?
Yeah, I lived with my in-laws for 3 years. So quitting living in Melbourne, moved to onto the Murray River on Albury Wodonga. And it was actually a pretty good setup. We had built-in babysitters for a while, but that was a bit of a confidence shooter for me, I guess, having a pretty good wage and a set career path, to not having any money and starting something I don't know exactly what it is. So that, I guess, was a big sacrifice for me and for my wife. It took a lot of trust from her that we were going to deliver something that could be a business that can sustain us in life. So I think that's been a big sacrifice, but I know that in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, I'm going to have a much bigger impact, and we're going to be more financially stable than if I stayed in government. So yes, that short-term pain, I think, is necessary. And I think a lot of aspiring farmers, I think about aspiring farmers as entrepreneurs as well, and anyone who wants to start a business, what are the sacrifices you want to make to live your dream? Because it's a real privilege to do that, but it's not easy. And you've got to think about, well, am I happy to sell my house? Am I happy to rent in a smaller property? Am I happy to not eat out every night? Like, what are the things you're going to sacrifice so you can save money and invest that into your business? And they're the things that I had to go through, and with my wife as well, to figure out, how much are we willing to sacrifice of our life? Like moving from Melbourne, really comfortable life in Melbourne, out to the country was a big sacrifice. It actually worked out really well, because it's a great place. Regional Australia's a great place to live. So yeah, it's just being conscious that you need to sacrifice to start a business. It's not going to be handed to you on a plate, and you've got to work for it. But just be happy with that, and we have been, and we still are, and we've got that bigger vision we're aiming for. So the sacrifice is absolutely fine.
Mm. So you mentioned about Gary Vee and how you wish you'd heard him, 4 years earlier than you had. There are other things that you wish you'd done, things you realise now that you wish you'd changed earlier?
Listen to Gary V. The other one was not quit my job so early. So have an income stream is key. It's a really good question. What else? I guess having a mindset that a business takes probably 7 years before you really click into being a profitable or getting into your stride. And what I'm 3 years into Cultivate Farms. So having that, I wish I had that mindset at the start as well. That, I thought, I'd come from government, I thought, 12 months, that'll do. That's all you need to get something off the ground. And that's just the very, very start. So I wish I had that sort of mindset from the get-go. I wish other things, building networks of people who are inspirational or motivating or could open doors for you. So I never really had that mindset. Like LinkedIn, for example, in government, I couldn't see the purpose of it, because most people came to us, I guess, for money and for opportunities. Whereas if now I should have been using it, think about it, I should have been using it to collect a lot of people that I could connect with or work with. If I had this idea of starting my own business, I think LinkedIn's so powerful to find those people who could open doors for you. And I wish I'd had more meetings with people outside who could help me with my ideas as well. The first couple of years, and I still do it now, I think I'm always talking to people and always trying to connect with them, because people are the core of business and of life. I mean, all you need to do is convince one person, and all the doors in the world could open for you. But it's finding that one person or finding those handful of people is the key. And you've got to. Someone said it's a good analogy. You got to kiss a lot of toads to see if one turns into a princess or a prince or whatever the analogy is. But and I think it's so true. It's get out there and talk to as many people as possible, because you never know where those conversations will go. But again, people are the core. The people, you think about investors, people who want to invest into businesses, they do it based on an idea, but mainly on trust and relationships. And I've heard it so many times that people would investigate your idea or you by talking to their friend that they trust. And if that friend says, yeah, you're good, then you're in. And sometimes gets to as simple an equation as that. And if you're not out there talking to as many people and building relationships, the opportunities for those connections to happen are just limited. So, I think having a stable income, listening to Gary Vee, more meetings are probably the key things.
Could you tell us about Cultivate Farm and how did the idea come to you?
Yeah. So Cultivate Farms is a farm ownership matchmaking service. So farms are multi-million-dollar businesses, and the idea that someone in their 20s could own them is almost impossible unless you inherit or are a millionaire. So we co-founders have grown up on farms, and we know how hard it is to own a farm. But we've met so many people who want to own a farm. That's I don't think we'll ever get rid of that desire out of humans. Even when the robots come, we'll still want to be the ones owning the farms and running them. And so we thought, this would be great. Why can't we, young people or next gen people, own a farm? And we thought, why isn't there a business having a crack at this? And we've Googled and we've talked to many people, and there's nothing worldwide that is focused on that farm ownership model. And so we spent the last 3 years trying to figure out what this is. We didn't know what that actually meant. And it's taken a long time for us to realize that we are this matchmaking business, that you can either save up to buy a farm, or you can connect with people who have the money or who have the lands and build a relationship with them, and then through that you can enter into a farm ownership opportunity with them, or you could just through relationships someone might even donate their farm to you, who knows. But we've realized the core of this is about relationships. And so it's not that we wanted to set up a Tinder, because I know that's the cool thing to do now, the Tinder of, or the eHarmony of, is sort of the tagline. But I guess that's what we're falling into, is that through the power of the internet and social media, we're able to connect with people all over Australia who either want to invest, who want to step back from their farm, or who want to own and run their farm. And now it's just a matter of connecting them up by putting words onto a website and using social media to point people to that website, and for people to go, I'm interested in an opportunity. And the model is that for retiring farmers, we put the call out, and if aspiring farmers want to have a crack at it, they pull a proposal together, and they decide if they want to catch up on the farm or not. And if they like each other, that's when they enter a legal agreement to transition ownership in whatever way they think is best for both parties. It's been a long journey of figuring out what this is. We've always had this, the core has always stayed the same. This is about ownership, and this is about ownership for next generation farmers. That's been at the core, and we're really confident we're on a winner now with what we're doing, and we're proving the case with case studies. And we're really confident that if we get this right, we're going to have a brain drain from the cities back to the bush, because who doesn't like the idea of living in the open and owning your own farm and making good money and having your family grow up in the great outdoors? I think it's an amazing thing, and now we're saying it's possible for anyone. If you want it, it's absolutely possible.
So Cultivate Farms, it's a really great idea, and lots of people have a lot of good ideas, but then it never really becomes a reality. So what would you say the key was for you from turning Cultivate Farms from just an idea into a reality?
I think you need to have a snap moment in your life, like what am I doing in my life, and why am I following the things that I really care about? And I guess I had a few of them. Why not? And then also had the idea itself. Like when I first thought about Cultivate, I couldn't sleep that night, I was writing down ideas, and I knew this had to happen. And so I don't know, maybe people don't have that snap moment where they're like, oh, what am I doing with my life? Why am I working this sucky job, or where am I going? So they haven't got that sort of reflection moment to help them reset where they want to go. And they probably haven't had the idea that they really love and want to chase. And maybe third, the other is being an entrepreneur or being the first to have a crack at an idea probably isn't for everyone. I think you've got to know who you are as a person and your personality, and to be the second in charge, or the third, or the seventh, or the 10th might be where you're better suited, and that's absolutely fine as well. So I think entrepreneurism a bit of a sexy thing at the moment, and probably won't be in 10 years' time. It wasn't 10, 20 years ago. And so some people are probably thinking that they need to be an entrepreneur, whereas I would really strongly do some self-reflection around, can you get up every morning knowing you're going to get rejected by 50 people again, and keep going? And if that's not you, I would consider finding other entrepreneurs that you could partner with who are already having a crack, and work with them. So yeah, I think you've got to have the idea, you've got to be ready mentally to pursue it, and third, you've got to be, I guess, have the right attitude, or the right mix with being able to go it alone and start something from scratch. If that's not you, don't have a crack at it, and it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just figuring out who you are as a person is probably the number one thing.
Especially when during the start process of making the Cultivate Farm, is there any major problem that you have ever encountered?
Is there a what, sorry?
Is there any major problem that you have ever encountered?
An impossible problem, or a problem that I can't get through?
The problem that you major encounter when you start the process of making the Cultivate Farm.
What was were there any major obstacles you came across when you were first starting out Cultivate?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest problem with starting Cultivate Farms was figuring out how to get investors in. And there's this thing called Australian Financial Services License. So if you want to get millions of dollars into a business, i.e. a farm, you need to have a license to attract that. So if there's over 2 million and 20 investors, you have to get a license. All these regulatory requirements, which are all probably fine to have. And we're talking about multi-million-dollar farms, and we thought, oh, we don't even know what an AFSL is, and we've never dealt with investors before, and we've never been in the investment world. This seems impossible. And I still remember talking to someone on a tram in Melbourne one day, talking to them about this and saying, I don't know how to get around this barrier. But within a few days, we had the solution, is that we don't have to, we're not here, and we don't provide any financial service advice. We don't do any real estate advice. We don't do any of that legal advice either. This is purely, we realised, just about matching people. And once those people are matched, they can go off and do whatever they want to in terms of land transition, financial requirements, etc. And there's advisors, etc. out there, and we're setting up referral processes for those advisors to come in. So that was probably the biggest barrier, is how do we do this, which doesn't require us to have an AFSL or all these other financial legal licenses or regulatory processes sorted. We've realised we're just a matchmaking service, and that took a lot of weight off our shoulders with what we're doing. I think it was a really great moment, tied in with a really horrible moment, thinking that we'll have to shut down the whole business. And how we got through that, I guess, is just through conversations again. It's just talking it out and telling people your idea, I think, is the only way to make things happen. So many people are worried about people stealing your idea, or they're wasting their time talking about their idea, but without talking about it, without telling people, without rehearsing it and having a phone call, a cold call, phone call, and trying to explain your idea, you're not going to refine it, you're not going to get better, and you're not going to improve the business model. So that's how we've dealt with all our problems, because, again, no one's really done what we were doing before. It's purely speaking it out, getting good people around the table and saying, this is what the problem is. What do you think? How do we solve it? And through conversation, you can resolve most things.
Speaking of refining the process of your business, were there any specific failures that you had to endure, which you were able to learn from?
Failure is probably not so much with a business. It's probably around finances. So it's probably failure to have an income stream to support myself while the business is getting going. And we're still not making much money at all as a business. And if we were relying on Cultivate Farms, I would be on the street right now. So I've got another job on the side to keep this going. Figuring out the financial models to make money off this has probably been our biggest failure to date. But I think that's only because we're creating something brand new, and getting people to pay for something brand new is really tricky. So we're conscious that we're trying to do things for as cheap as possible right now, so we get case studies, so that over time people will see the value in what we're doing, and we know they will. It's just about how do you get stuff off the ground for cheap or free, so that you've got this proof to be able to show others. So that's probably our biggest difficulty at this stage, is demonstrating the monetization of what we're doing. We're learning and we're getting there. It's just a thing that takes time for us.
What is the most satisfying moment when you're managing Cultivate Farm?
Most inspiring?
No, most satisfying moment.
Satisfying. I think it's those messages that are on Facebook or email or text message, people saying, Sam, I absolutely love what you guys are doing. No one has ever told me before that I can own a farm. I've been working on this job that I hate for the last 10, 15 years, and all I want to do is own a farm, and now you're telling me I can, and I can see the pathway to how that can happen. So I guess opening people's eyes to what's possible is really, really enjoyable. It's also really enjoyable, but really frustrating that others can't see this. I think what we're saying is that there's nothing holding anybody back from owning a multi-million-dollar farm or a multi-million-dollar business. It's just how much you want it, and this is about finding the right people to help you get there. So I guess influencing people's lives, I guess we are meddling with people's lives here. It's a really powerful but humbling thing as well. But that keeps us going, that we're onto something that people want a solution for, and we're finding those solutions. So that's really cool.
So you're saying a big part of your business model is having investors willing to give farmers a go. So what is your strategy in trying to find those investors and ensuring that their investment is safe and profitable for them?
Yep. So the first thing we'd say is investing in farms is risky, like anything. And secondly, we say we don't provide financial services, and this is up to you to decide what your best investment is. But our aim is to find the best farmers who are very clever and know how to pull a proposal together and know how to run a farm. But we're also unpacking who an investor is. So most people think investor are a very wealthy person from one of the capital cities in Melbourne who's dabbling into farming. We are trying to tip that on its head and say your next door neighbour could be an investor, or your best mate could be an investor, and things like equity crowdfunding are making that possible. We also want regional communities to be investors, so the people in a community who are investing in the stock exchange, and we're saying there are farms right near you that you could be investing in and making better money than investing into the stock exchange. Or to retired farmers who have money in the bank and don't know what to do with it, we're saying you can invest into your community and bring young people back to your community. So trying to get people to think completely differently. Or if you've got $100,000 in your bank and you want to own a farm, but that's definitely not enough to buy a farm, but you could own it with a few other people. That sort of stuff. We're just trying to get people to think differently about who an investor is, so that these next-gen farmers or anyone who wants to own a farm can think, well, it's not just about convincing someone from Melbourne, it's about convincing my connections with friends. And maybe everyone's probably got a rich uncle or auntie or a rich friend or someone who's got connections with money. It's just about letting them know you want to own a farm. That's probably the biggest step. Most people are ashamed to say they want to be a farmer for some reason. We're saying get out there and promote it. Be like an entrepreneur and hassle everybody at every single dinner party. Be so annoying, because unless people know about it, they're not going to be able to think about, I've got a connection. Two friends the other day were talking about investing into a farm. I'll connect you to them. And that's how life happens. And that's what you should be doing as an aspiring farmer, is promoting yourself as the next best entrepreneur into farming. And why wouldn't someone want to back you? It's just about getting the name out there. So I guess, yeah, we're trying to open up who an investor is, and then we're saying to those investors, make sure you're getting the best financial advice you can around whether you should be investing into these opportunities. But we're trying to find the best farmers to own that farm with, because that's probably the biggest variable in running a good farm, is having the right people to run it.
How do you go about marketing your business? Or what has been most successful form of your marketing?
Yeah, marketing, we are probably 95% through social media and predominantly Facebook. I don't know how you would start a business 10, 15 years ago. You can start one anywhere from Facebook. And Facebook ads we use a lot as well. And we don't use that much money on them, but you can target the very people that you want to get a message to, and all you're limited by is the content you're willing to create through video, through audio, or written, or photos. And that's been our number one focus. I still remember creating our Facebook page and being nervous about creating it, and now we can't get enough of it. We're posting 4 or 5 times a day, just content that's trying to inspire people, opportunities, trying to be a voice for next gen farmers in the industry and get our foot in the door of conversations we want to be a part of. And it works without social media. I don't know how you get attention. You have to pay for it, or you have to put in $1,000 ads into newspapers. But now for free, you can get in front of people that you really want to influence. So I think for any business, irrespective of how big or small you are, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, absolutely unbelievable. And I just don't think the whole business world has really under-captured how amazing that is. And we're going for it, especially in the agricultural world. I think ag is a few years behind other businesses. And so we're just stealing lots of ideas from people like Gary Vaynerchuk, and just applying them for our specific circumstance. And doors are opening. We're getting attention that leads to more traditional media. It leads to sponsorship deals. Like attention is what it's all about. People are on their phone all the time. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're consuming it. So you just got to create content where your audience is. Don't get romantic about television or billboards or what you used to do in the old days. It's just knowing where the cheapest attention is, and it's definitely on your phone. And everyone knows it. Like, we'd all be on our phones right now if we weren't having this chat. And that's where most people are. So just create content, and you'll get in front of the people who care about what you're doing. And you can go from there. But yeah, I think we will always be trying to follow where the attention is. And right now, it just happens to be through social media. It might be virtual reality soon. I don't know what it'll be next, but we'll just try and keep jumping on where most of the attention is and the cheapest attention.
Where do you see your Cultivate Farm in the next 10 years?
10 years, yeah, we'd love to be the number one way of transitioning farms in Australia, or even, so either that's you're selling your farm, or you're wanting to step away from your farm, or you want to invest in a farm. We want anyone to think about us as the first point of call to find the best farmers, or the best investors, or the best retiring farmers. We'd love to dominate the farm investment and farm acquisition world. And do it again all about relationships, which we just know is the key thing to running a good business. We'd love to have had thousands of farms matched, and thousands of amazing positive stories about community rejuvenation happening, that we can get more and more people inspired. I want to hear stories of 8-year-olds who grew up in the city now owning a farm, and because they've just hustled and they've had the desire to own a farm, and they've realised, I don't have to have grown up on a farm to be a farmer. I just got to have the passion. We just want to inspire the very best people that they can follow their dreams and own a farm, and we want to have hundreds and thousands of examples of exactly how that has happened, so that more people want to follow that pathway.
So you were saying before how there's kind of like a negative stigma sometimes attached with farming as a career choice. And in my education experience, farming was never a profession even talked about. So what's your kind of message for young people to consider farming?
Yeah, great question. So I think most people think, if I want to be rich and powerful and live a good life, I'm going to go be a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant, and that's what clever people do. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. We're saying now, though, that if you want to be rich and live a great life and have a great place for your kids to grow up and live in a beautiful environment, farm ownership should be right up there. The only thing stopping most people thinking about that is they go, 1, I didn't grow up on a farm, 2, I know nothing about agriculture, and 3, I don't have millions of dollars. But no one has ever grown up being a doctor or understanding how to be a doctor or grown up in a doctor practice, but they go off and become a doctor. So we're just saying to them, there are pathways to own your farm. You do have to be very clever to be good enough to own a farm. And here is your 5 to 10 year pathway for you to realise your dream if this is something that's a burning desire for you. If being a farmer is not an idea that you want to follow, fantastic, go do something else. But if it's an inkling inside you, we're saying you can make it possible. It is through working hard, it's through getting connections, it's go working on a farm. It's by knowing the best farmers in a district. It's by building those relationships you can get onto a farm. Just go for it. But the main thing is become a bit of an entrepreneur, learn all the skills about business and farming, and learn to promote yourself and treat yourself like you are an entrepreneur. And through that, you can find those pathways to ownership.
What would be a piece of advice you'd give to students who want to become entrepreneurs, just in general?
Start documenting your journey now. You do not have to be an expert in the thing you care about. The documenting your journey of learning about something and documenting by video or Facebook or creating a blog is just so powerful, and it shows you've got this passion. And that is, like I said before, I think creating content online is the new resume. So if you do love Herefords, or if you love solar powered cars, all you have to do is start documenting your journey of learning about the batteries and learning about how solar energy is turned into electrical energy. Just being a distributor of knowledge of stuff you're learning over years will attract the right people to open doors to what you want to do, which could lead to an amazing job, or it could lead to sponsorship deals with people who want to use your platform to promote their content. But unless you're creating content and getting it out there, you're not going to have an audience, and opportunities won't open. But if you're out there creating content, creating videos every week, talking about this topic, doors just will open, and there's no way you can predict it. But if you're doing it, 1, you'll enjoy it, but 2, some really cool opportunities will pop up, and from there you can figure out where you want to go. So if it's what you love, there's never been a better time ever in human history to have a crack at something that you care about, and nobody expects you to be an expert. But your skills in unpacking and learning about something so powerful, like doing what we're doing here, interviewing people who are experts in a field, is an amazing way and a simple way to create content and show your expertise in something as well.
What would you say are the top skills that are needed to be successful entrepreneur?
Skills. The ability to get up every morning and keep going. To have that vision of where you're heading. So I don't know if they're skills or, I guess they are. I just think so much it is hard to get up in the morning when nothing is going right and nobody likes your idea, and the things you wanted to happen haven't happened, and you still got to try and get up and keep going and put on a positive face. So the ability to know yourself that you can do that, I think, is a massive requirement. Again, it's that knowing who you are as a person is key. If you cannot do that, or you can't cope when people bag you out or crap on your idea, then you shouldn't probably be pursuing becoming an entrepreneur or starting something from scratch. What else? Skills. I think financial management skills, just even understand the basics of accounting, is a great thing. And networking, being able to talk to people and express your idea easily and give them confidence, I think, is a really powerful thing to be able to do. Conversations and people are the core of any business, and if you can convince people, you've got a business. So yeah, they're probably the key ones, I'd say.
I was saying, on those days when you are kind of struggling to get out of bed and you might be having doubts, how do you work through those kind of moments?
First off, I think, do I have money in the bank, and is heavy money coming in shortly, and is it enough for me to stop and actually go get a job somewhere? The other is, do I have good people around me who are very positive and love what I'm doing and love me, that I could call and, keep going, or at least just keep reflecting on? If I didn't have those support people around me, or I didn't have those people who said, yes, it's a great idea, I probably wouldn't get up. I'd just sit in bed and and sook. But yeah, and if you didn't have an idea you believed in, or you didn't think it could make money or make the change you want, it would be really tough, and I would consider staying in bed and reconsidering where you want to go in life. But because I think I've got this, I think I know our idea is awesome, that there's thousands of people who want us to succeed now, and because we know we can make money out of this, it's so much easier to get up. In fact, I love getting up out of bed now. But without those things in place, probably really is tough. And that's, again, why you need to know yourself as you're starting these businesses. Do you have the fortitude to keep going when things don't look good? But also, do you have the friends around you to keep you going? And those friends even to say, should you really keep going? Is this really what you want?
So if you were conducting this interview, what kind of question that you were going to ask yourself?
Is it worth it? Yeah. Is it worth it? Is it worth starting your own business, or just better off working for somebody and having a good life? And I think the answer to that differs for people, but for me, I'd say yes, because I really want to have a massive impact on Australia, and for nature and for regional communities, and I can absolutely see that I'm going to, and that our business is going to smash it out of the park, and so the short-term pain, short-term sacrifice, I think is absolutely worth it. If it was a small vision, and people I were meeting were very small-minded, and this wasn't very exciting, I'd definitely be considering just getting a job and doing something else. But I think because I can see the bigger picture, it absolutely is worth it.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. You're obviously working very hard at this, and we wish you all the best in Cultivate Farms. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, fellas. That was really good fun, and good luck with your studies.
Thank you.
Thank you.